Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It is the start of 2023 and I hope everyone's new year is gonna go great and that we're all gonna follow through with our new year's resolution. So one of the things that I wanted to do in this video is talk about how the year 2022 went overall. Wanted to highlight some specific movies that came out that stood out to me, any movies that I thought were spectacularly well done or disaster movies, and sort of just see how the overall year went. So we're gonna start from the top and look at January, and just wanted to make a note that even though I may talk about some movies that you guys might not have heard of, I may also skip over movies that you guys might have liked or were even your favorites. The reason for that might just be because I didn't get a chance to see it, or that I just didn't think it was worthy to talk about. Again, just my personal opinion. Another thing I want to stress is that we're only looking at movies which I saw in theaters, so no streaming movies count as much. Also primarily because I don't watch movies that go directly to streaming because I'm not into the whole streaming service culture and whatnot. So without further ado, let's get started. Now starting off the year, one of the movies that I really liked that I saw in January was Licorice Pizza. The movie felt like a slice of life movie where there weren't too many things at stake. It was a movie about this teenager who's trying to figure out what to do in life, and then this kid that is attracted to the teenager. And I remember thinking that I'm not going to enjoy this movie as much just because the genre doesn't seem like anything I would be particularly interested in. We're sort of just following their character arcs and seeing how they're going to grow. And so I was a bit apprehensive, but after the movie was done, I walked out thinking that that was a really feel-good movie, and truly that movie did make me feel good, and it made me realize the importance of movies where there's not a whole lot at stake and you're just following two regular people set in a real time frame within history and watching people interact with each other and build relationships, and there was just something magical about that. Another movie which I saw around January, which was the worst movie I have seen so far in theaters, if not one of the worst, was Matrix Resurrection. That movie was so terrible that I was contemplating whether or not I should walk out of the theater or not. In fact, when I was watching that movie, there was a couple behind me having a conversation the entire time. Quite honestly, I was more interested in that than the movie itself. It was atrocious. And you know what? That couple actually did walk out of the movie, so props to them. The reason why this movie didn't really stick out to me was that I kind of really didn't know what was happening. I just wasn't connected with the characters, and the movie just felt bland altogether. So overall, I wish I kind of didn't see this movie, but it's an experience, what can I say. Now following it up with was House of Gucci that I saw, and House of Gucci, I actually really enjoyed it. Again, I'm starting to realize I like movies where there's nothing supernatural about it. We're set in a real-time zone following real people and watching real stories, and something about that just really speaks to me. And so House of Gucci, I think, is a really good movie. I really enjoyed the acting that was done by Adam Driver and Jared Leto, and I really enjoyed learning something new from that movie, and I think that movies can be a good way to tell stories and learn parts of our history. I thought the set design was really well done. I thought the costumes were really great. Overall pacing was also fine. The ending sort of felt a bit rushed and let down. To me, it felt like you spent so much time developing characters and making us connect with them in the beginning of the movie, and then towards the end, when the characters do change, we don't get enough time to process that. Just a personal complaint, but overall I did enjoy it. Next we had Moonfall, and Moonfall was one of the movies that I was really looking forward to because I enjoy disaster movies based on disasters, and so watching a movie about moon falling to earth and people losing their lives, buildings falling, all of that seemed like a good premise to me. The movie was a bit of a letdown because I sort of didn't really enjoy the science fiction aspect of them actually going to the moon, figuring out it's an alien society, yada yada yada. I wish it sort of focused on just the disasters itself, because I really enjoyed the parts that were following the characters on Earth way more than the things that was happening on the moon. Overall, a 3 out of 5 for me. Next interesting movie I saw was Uncharted. I have tried to play Uncharted, games before, starting with Uncharted 4, and overall the game just wasn't it for me, but I wanted to see the movie regardless. And so I was one of the people that actually thought the movie was pretty good. The most common complaint about this movie is that it's a good action adventure movie, but it's not a good Uncharted movie. And you know what, I can see that. As someone that hasn't played Uncharted before, I did enjoy the heck out of this movie. I thought finding out the mystery behind whatever they were trying to get was pretty fun. The treasure, of course, them going inside the sewer systems and solving puzzles was fun. The whole sequence with the airplanes and the cars and them diving out of it was also great, and I really enjoyed the movie from start to finish. I could see, however, from the very beginning that of course his brother Sam is always going to be alive, and I knew for a fact that they showed it in trailers that Sully had a mustache, but I correctly predicted that it was only going to come at the end, because that's the best way you can tease a sequel, by again playing with the fans' feelings and doing a little bit of fan service, which I understand. But overall, I thought the movie was actually pretty good. Again, have not played any Uncharted games, so that is exactly why. Now we go into March, and of course, the main movie in March that I really liked was The Batman. Not going to spend too much time talking about The Batman, except I think it's my favorite superhero film, and one of the best films I saw this year, purely because of the director Matt Reeves and the cinematography that was done into the movie, as well as the character performances and the overall story. Another movie which I really liked was The Lost City. This came out towards the end of March, and when we go from Uncharted to The Batman, we're sort of going into that fantastical realm again. And so I think I really enjoyed, again, being brought back into a situation where you have characters without any superpowers or crazy skills. And I really enjoyed Brad Pitt's cameo. If you haven't seen the movie is well done. It's a good rom-com, I would say. Towards the end, it does lose a little bit of its footing, but overall, it's a genuinely good watch that I think everyone should put on their list. If you got friends or family coming over, this is the perfect movie. Then we come into April, and honestly, April was a bit of a weak month. I mean, we had Morbius, which was a natural disaster. The worst superhero movie I think made in the last 10 years. I can't think of anything worse than that. Maybe Green Lantern, but I haven't seen Green Lantern, so I can't say. But Morbius is the worst movie I've seen. The worst superhero movie, I've seen. Now, if I had to pick between watching Morbius or The Matrix, I would still pick Morbius, just because I understood what was happening more compared to Matrix. Now, other notable releases in this month were Ambulance, which was a mid-tier movie, and then The Northman, which some people really enjoyed and some people didn't. I again thought it was a mid-tier movie. I will say this though, that I actually found myself enjoying the movie more and more as we kept going, so there's that. And I think the ending fight in front of the volcano is very beautiful, very well done, and I enjoyed the heck out of that. Now we go into May, and so May of course is when you're gonna have your typical Marvel movie release, starting off with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, leading up to this movie, the idea behind this movie was that this was going to be a crazy movie where things are going to change forever. We're going to get the multiverse, so the possibilities are endless. But when you look back at it, you realize that, you know, the movie sort of did nothing to change the MCU that much. The movie was very self-contained, which was quite the opposite the expectations that people had when they were going into the theaters, and the movie kind of fell flat. It was not what I had in mind, and not once did I ever feel that things would actually go bad. Like in every movie, you have to sell the villain, right? If the bad guy wins, it's bad for everyone, and you definitely don't want that to happen. But I really wasn't sold on the idea of why we're stopping Scarlet Witch. Like, I understand that, you know, they're saying that she's gonna go corrupt, yada yada yada, whatnot, but I just didn't really connect with that. And so I think that if that could have been done a whole lot better, the movie I think could have been substantially better as well. So that was really my only complaint with this movie for this month. And then of course we go into Top Gun Maverick, which I want to say came out in May, but I did see it in June, so we're in the month of June. And Top Gun Maverick, I really enjoyed when we had Tom Cruise personally come on screen and greet all the moviegoers. I think there was something special about that, where seeing an actor personally come on screen thank the audience just makes me feel more valued, and I respect that. Overall movie I thought was fine. I thought the movie was good, but I really don't understand why people are going crazy over it, and it just might be because of different expectations that people have. For some people, the bar might be lower than what it is for me, and so because Top Gun Maverick was a good movie, for some people it exceeded the bar, whereas for me it just met the bar. Overall, I had fun. I don't know if this is one of the movies that I could rewatch over and over again like I know people did, but I can see why some people really did enjoy this movie, and I'm very happy for them. Now, the absolute biggest highlight for me in June and maybe for the entire year was the Bob's Burgers movie. The Bob's Burgers movie, I think, did its job exceedingly well and is a movie that should be remembered for years. With every TV show that's gotten a movie, the main goal of it, apart from making money at the box office, is to capture newcomers that don't know your TV show and then get them hooked by making a really good movie where they now want to watch the TV show. And quite honestly, that's exactly what happened with me, and it has never happened before. The Bob's Burgers movie, I think, was very well done. It had heart to it. It gave screen time to all the characters appropriately, though I kind of wish I saw a bit more of Bob and Linda. But overall, again, the plot was nice. We got a lot of cameos, and the jokes definitely landed. I mean, my theater was laughing, and now that I think about it, my theater was actually pretty full for a movie that came out, for a movie that I saw pretty late at a random time on a weekend, especially an animated adults movie, which, you know, doesn't always gain the most traction. Overall, again, got me hooked into the series. There's nothing much I can say except it is one of the best movies I have seen and one of the most impactful movies I have seen. Now I'm going to skip to July, and July is the month where I think we pick things back up again. I would say that May was kind of strong only because of Top Gun Maverick. June, you had Jurassic World Dominion as the big hitter, but of course things went down the drain. July is when you finally had Minions, The Rise of Gru, which, if you don't know, the Minions movies do a heck of a lot of business at the box office, so it only made sense that we're gonna make more and more and more. And so again, I thought the movie was fine, nothing too crazy, nothing life-shattering. Followed up with Thor: Love and Thunder, which I saw. Absolute disappointment. At first, I didn't want to accept the fact that this movie was not as good as Ragnarok, but after sitting with it for a few days, I realized that this movie is not good, and for me, this movie is quite honestly on the same level as the original Thor and Thor: The Dark World. Now, a movie that I really did enjoy was Nope. Nope, I think, had really great cinematography, and the overall plot was a bit weak. I wasn't really sold on the villain. It didn't really feel like a threat to me that much. However, the chimp scene was, again, it made the entire theater nervous. Our theater became dead silent when that chimp was on. And overall, I enjoyed the scenes where we're in the night and the light goes out and now you just see the character in the darkness. So that was really great cinematography, that you were able to capture the character and not make him, you know, fade into the darkness with the background. So props to the cinematographer. And overall, I would put Nope in between Us and Get Out. I would say that Get Out is still the better movie, followed with Nope and then Us, and I think that a lot of people on the internet would agree with that. Now, a really indie movie came out in July, which I think you guys should definitely give it a watch if you haven't, is called Vengeance. Vengeance is a movie where you have this person from the big city travel to Texas because of a funeral, and he decides to make a podcast about the people living in Texas and document their lives and see how they think. The movie was very heartfelt. The movie did a great job of introducing the characters and making us care about them. And what was really fascinating is that this is one of the few movies where I really did see the character change over time, and their character arc really did stand out to me. I feel that with a lot of movies, people say that there's a character arc and characters have changed, and I sort of just take their word for it and I never come to that conclusion myself. But this movie absolutely nailed it and did a perfect job, so if you haven't seen it, it is a must watch. In August, we had Brad Pitt's latest movie come out called Bullet Train. I actually saw this movie twice back to back, one day after another, just because I really enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. I really enjoyed the colorful scenes within the trains. I thought the jokes were pretty good. The jokes landed with me, and I really did enjoy Brad Pitt's character as well as Lemon and Tangerine. And so if they do a spin-off, these two characters I think would be perfect for it. They have not confirmed a sequel for Bullet Train, although I do think that this movie does have its door opens for the realm of possibility of having a sequel. So if you haven't seen Bullet Train, do keep it on your list. Now, in the month of August, we actually don't have that many movies. I don't remember any big hitters that I saw. A few small movies I did see were Fall, which is about two girls stuck on top of a tower. It's a one-time watch, nothing too spectacular, but if you've got a group of friends, you're at a party, this could be a good party movie. And then the other one was a horror movie called Orphan First Kill, which is a prequel to an early 2010 movie called Orphan. Now, as we move to September, we do get the re-release of Spider-Man No Way Home, which I did go watch and I enjoyed it just as much, as well as actually pretty good horror movies. So first we had Pearl that I saw. Pearl is a sequel to a movie that came out the same year in 2022 in the beginning called X, where it's a prequel and you're following two different characters between X and Pearl, but they're played by the same actor, and actually even the genre switches. X was more like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where Pearl was hard for me to describe to any other movie, but a thriller where you following the mental psyche of this character and you don't know when they're gonna erupt, what's gonna go wrong in their head, when they're gonna start going absolutely crazy. The movie is well done, the acting is spectacular. I believe that Mia Goth, who plays Pearl, should be a contender for the Oscars this year. However, with it being a horror movie, I don't know if it's gonna get snubbed or not. And if you really did enjoy this movie, then you'll be happy to know that there's a sequel coming out in 2023. I forget what the name is called, but Mia Goth, I believe, is going to come back as a character again. I don't know if it's going to be the character from X or if it's going to be a brand new character. After Pearl, I saw Barbarian, which is one of the best horror movies I have ever seen. I think if you watch the trailer, it does a great job at misdirection, and the movie just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier until you don't know what's going to happen at the end. The movie does a great job of setting up the premise of the story, introducing characters, and then completely going in an opposite direction while still keeping you invested and hooked into these characters. There's a bit of eeriness when you watch Barbarian, and again, I think the directors have done a great job with the set design, because this is one of the movies where I think having a really good set is important. Essentially, the characters are in a house and then they go into a basement and then they find hidden doors and whatnot. And right from that moment, you're on the edge of your seat. And for this entire movie, I really was. If they do a re-release of this movie, I would definitely love to go watch it. And if you're a fan of horror movies, this is a must-watch. And if you're not, I still think this is a must-watch because it's very well done. Another movie I want to talk about is called See How They Run. This was again a limited release and it's a mystery movie and one of my favorite movies of all time. I really loved the characters. It's a whodunit where you're trying to figure out who killed this producer, and so you're following a cop as well as his assistant, who's also a cop in training, and you really get to connect with the characters of both the cop as well as his assistant. And I thought it was really sweet watching their relationship grow as they're solving the mystery, and you don't really see that in a whole lot of movies. Also, I haven't seen a whodunit movie in a long time. The last one I saw before this, I think, was Death on Nile, so I was ready for a change. Overall, great movie. I'm gonna skip over Don't Worry Darling because I did not enjoy that movie and I don't even want to talk about that movie, but that movie did come out, so keep that in mind. Then we had Smile. Smile is a movie that I thought was pretty okay. I think there have definitely been better horror movies, but people really did like this movie. It did well at the box office, so something went right for it. And then we had Black Adam, which was a travesty. Black Adam might be also one of the worst superhero movies I have seen. I didn't really fall in love with the villain. In fact, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember the movie or who the bad guy was. And the little kid was just annoying. I thought that if you're introducing a new character as powerful as big as Black Adam, then maybe don't introduce Hawkman and Pierce Bronson's characters and other people's characters. Maybe keep the focus to just Black Adam. But that's just my complaint. Also, that Superman cameo didn't really go anywhere, so there's that for why it sucked. Overall, just a bit of a letdown, but quite honestly, that's what I expected from DC. Then we had another indie movie, Triangle of Sadness, which I saw in theaters. I really enjoy indie movies, as I'm starting to realize in theaters, especially one that deals with differences in class and just socioeconomic status of people. However, with the high expectations, this movie didn't really meet my mark. Again, I thought the movie was just okay, but I see that there could have been a lot of potential, but for me, it just didn't meet those expectations. The month of October was actually pretty disappointing overall, and in November, we finally had a movie that I was looking forward to as well, called The Menu. Again, I thought The Menu was going to deal with rich versus poor and be a whole satire on that, but the movie just takes a turn and turns out it's more about obsession with things rather than that. So I was disappointed in that. Gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought the acting was well done with all the performers. I thought the movie kept me on my edge of my seat and I didn't really know what to expect. However, walking out at the end of the movie, I did feel a bit let down and disappointed. Now in November though, after The Menu, we did have pretty good releases. We had Glass Onion, which is a fantastic movie, 10 out of 10, and I actually did see it in theaters for the limited release and I enjoyed my time there, so did my theater. I did show up a bit late, so I kind of missed out on the beginning when they were solving the puzzle with the wooden box, but overall I thought Daniel Craig did a great job and the mystery was very well done. Sometimes we paint the bad guys to be really smart and clever and make our whodunit movies very elaborate, when you realize that, you know, you could also have stories where the main character, the bad guy, is super dumb and he just took the easy way out, and that's what this movie was about. So I really appreciate that. Then our last 2 movies for the year, we had Tickets to Paradise, where this is one of those movies again, slice of life following real people, real situations, and just watching them grow. And so I really enjoyed the comedy behind this movie, and I really enjoyed watching George Clooney and Julia Roberts' characters interact with each other, as well as sort of bonding and seeing them get close and realizing that, you know, they might not have had an ideal life, but who do you blame for that? You know, one person wants one thing, the other person wants the other thing. Whose fault really is it? And so I enjoyed Tickets to Paradise. It's one of those movies, again, that you should definitely see regardless of what movies you enjoy, what genre you enjoy, and it's one of those movies that you have to watch with your friends. And then in December, the only movie I saw was Avatar: The Way of Water. I enjoyed it, had a blast with it, and I thought the 3D was well done. The high refresh rate was refreshing to see. As a gamer, I definitely enjoyed the high refresh rate scenes more than the standard 24 frames per second scenes. The story was pretty basic, but that's okay because you don't need a complex story when you're dealing with such a beautiful world. And overall, it was a great escapism movie. I really hope the movie does well at the box office, and I really hope we continue with more sequels and that Avatar again comes back into pop culture and becomes very relevant again, as relevant as superhero movies as the MCU for the next decade. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that for me is the recap of 2022, the movies that I saw, movies that I thought were disappointing. Some months were clearly stronger than the other. I think the summer period of May through June was pretty strong. Then we sort of go into slumps, but then we pick back up again between the October-November period. Beginning of the year wasn't as spectacular. I think beginning of the year you really only had 1 or 2 individual movies carry out the entire month. We did have like a barrage of different genres of movies in the beginning, between Uncharted, Lost City, Marry Me, Matrix Resurrection, House of Gucci, so that was really nice, but overall nothing too spectacular until we hit the summer. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, which movies you enjoyed watching this year, which movies you didn't, which were let down, which ones exceeded your expectations, and if you are looking forward to any movies in 2023. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.